Mob, welcome to Deadly Kindies. My name is Kendi. I work with the Deadly Kindies team and I also work over at Birthing in Our community on the south side. And we've got a special guest here with us today.
Hey everyone, I'm Tamika Upton and I'm a Deadly Choices ambassador.
Thanks for joining us today, Tamika. You're going to read us a story, but before we start that, we're going to do an acknowledgement of country. So this is one that you can do at Kindy each morning to acknowledge the traditional owners. So let's get started. Here is the land, here is the sky, here are my friends, and here am I. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we play, discover, and learn. All right, shall we get into the story?
Yes, let's do it.
So this one is called Sam's Bush Journey. So by Sally Morgan and Ezekiel Quay-Molina, I think you say, and illustrated by Bronwyn Bancroft. And we've read lots of stories before by Sally Morgan and Bronwyn Bancroft. So let's get into Sam's Bush Journey. Beautiful colours in this story. Here we go.
Sam's Bush Journey. Sam loved staying with his Nana, except for one thing. Her house was surrounded by bush. Nana liked to take Sam for long walks, but when they got home, Sam's legs and arms would be covered in scratches from the spiky scrubs that grew in the bush.
There you are, going for a walk.
Nana liked to walk deep into the gum forest, but the gum trees shed their leaves and bark, and sometimes they shed their branches too. Sam was afraid that a branch would fall on his head.
You see all the animals in there too while they're going for a walk?
Yeah.
There's a snake there, better be careful.
Nana liked to feed the birds at the waterhole near her house, but it buzzed with mosquitoes. Sam always ended up with itchy red bites that he scratched even in his sleep.
Is there? Look. Looks like all the mosquitoes.
I don't like the bush, Sam told his Nana. I'd be happy if it all disappeared. I hope you'll learn to love the bush one day, Sam, his Nana said, and she told him all about the good things it had to offer. The bush gives me a headache, said Sam. I'm going to bed. When Sam next opened his eyes, he wasn't in his soft, comfortable bed. He was in the bush. He was tired and hungry. He was surrounded by spiky shrubs, and he had no idea how to get home.
Yeah. Can you see there? Looks like someone's watching over Sam.
Then Sam heard his Nana calling him, and he headed toward the sound of her voice. Sam walked and walked. The further he walked, the more his stomach grumbled. Then he remembered what his Nana had told him. There is plenty of food in the bush. When he looked closer at the shrubs, he saw that they were loaded with berries. Sam had never eaten berries before, but his Nana had told him which ones to pick. The berries were juicy and delicious. Sam's stomach had stopped grumbling.
Yum. Look, here he is picking the berries, having a feed. They do look big and juicy.
Sam kept walking. The sky grew dark and stormy. Thunder rumbled. Lightning flashed. Rain poured down. Sam was shivering and soaking wet. Then he remembered something else his Nana had told him. There's plenty of shelter in the bush. He saw an old gum tree. It was tall and wide, with a hollow in its trunk. Sam climbed inside. It was warm and dry and smelt of eucalyptus. By the time the rain had passed, Sam had stopped shivering.
Here he is in the tree, nice and safe, remembering all those wise words that Nana has told him, taught him all about the bush.
The clouds soon disappeared, and Sam kept walking. The sun came out. It shone hot and strong. Sam began to sweat. His hair stuck to his head. His mouth was parched and his throat hurt. Then he remembered something else his Nana had told him. There's fresh water in the waterhole. But Sam didn't know where to find the waterhole. Then he heard the birds singing. His Nana had told him that birds gather by the water, so he followed the sound. He was tired and hot, and his legs were aching, but he kept going until he reached the waterhole. Sam flopped onto the bank and scooped the cool, fresh water into his mouth. Sam was worn out. He curled up in the shade of a tree and closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he wasn't in the bush. He was in his soft, comfortable bed.
There he is, fell asleep in the bush, woke up in his bed.
Breakfast time, Nana called out from the kitchen. Sam felt like he had been walking all night, and he ate a huge breakfast. I'm going to visit the waterhole, said his Nana after breakfast, but you can stay here if it gives you a headache. Oh no, replied Sam, I'd like to come. The birds at the waterhole made a racket as Sam and Nana arrived. Why, Sam, Nana laughed. If I didn't know better, I'd think they were saying good morning to you. Maybe they are, Nana, Sam smiled. Maybe they are.
Here he is back at the waterhole. The fish, goanna, snake, kangaroo, the birds. Oh, welcome them, say good morning.
And that's the end.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tamika. Sam's bush journey. What a deadly story, and lots of animals to look for too. I know when Tamika was reading, I was looking around, seeing what I could see in the pictures. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Bye.